Bless up, family.
All right, let's
Bless
get
up.
it. Let's get it.
Okay. Bless up, everyone. Bless up. Welcome, 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 family, to another episode of Constructive Convos, bringing the conversation back to black. And I just wanted to, say happy Monday to the fam, right? And we have a very, very interesting topic today. Um, in the constructive convo family, we kind of tend to butt heads sometimes. So I'm interested and excited to hear how it's going to go down with this conversation. So just let the family introduce themselves. We have a brother Afro here in the house. You can say what's up, brother
Hello
Afro.
there. Hello, everyone in panel. Everyone that's watching.
We have a brother B2. B2, you saying what's up to the peeps? Okay, maybe he's
Bless
not a.
Arissa on the panel.
We have our brother E Black.
Yo, peace on peace.
We have brother Raz.
Yo, bless up, man. Bless up, everyone.
And our brother Witness.
Welcome, everyone. Looking forward to it.
And I am your wonderful sister, the Melanated Goddess. I'm lucky today. I'm the only sister on the panel. Oh, all this masculine energy. Uh, so yeah, as I was stating, every now and then in the background, conversation can get a little heated with our constructive combo conversation. So we decided to pick a very controversial topic to show the family how we can kind of spice it up a little bit. So today's topic is: should we encourage trappers to contribute more to the community? And for those who don't know what a trapper is another word for drug dealer. So should we be encouraging them to contribute to the betterment of our community? What do you all think about that topic?
Interesting. I just wanted to share my screen just to get a particular thing across in regards to this. It won't take long, just a few seconds, because I admit when I heard the term trapper, I was a little confused. I didn't know what it was. So I did some research. And as you quite rightly stated, it relates to the drug house. I was able to find something. My source that I'm using is Wikipedia. Are you all able to see it? And basically, it just gives a very basic definition. A drug house, also known as a trap house, bando, drug house, or crack house, is a building where drug dealers and drug users buy, sell, produce, and use illegal drugs, including crack cocaine. In this way, crack houses are not unlike the earlier opium dens of the late 19th and early 20th century. Often they are old, abandoned, or burnt out buildings, oftentimes in an inner city neighborhood. However, in response to increased community scrutiny and law enforcement activity, drug operations are moving from the inner cities to the suburbs in an effort to blend in. So that's where I got my definition.
Well, that is very thorough definition there.
Yeah. So I definitely don't think that they should be. Well, I want to hear more about what exactly we mean when we talk about them. Giving more, contributing more to what? As in more to the Black community, or more to communities in general? I want to know more about that
Well,
question.
well, the constructive convo way, we're focusing on the Black community and building up our community. Not that we don't care about other communities, but more so from the perspective of we need to clean in-house, take care of in-house, build up the house, so that way we can open up the front door and invite people in and be hospitable to other communities. So yeah. So with the focus on the Black community, should we encourage them to contribute more?
In my opinion, absolutely not. We should
I
find a way
I
to get rid of
also
them.
I also agree. We shouldn't we are people that should have high standards. We shouldn't have to lower standards to doing things illegal in order to get by. There's no reason why we can't do things legally, make legal businesses, and actually, build up our community, because these drugs and what these people supply actually hurts our community because it's selling on to other, fellow black people, and it's destroying our community because it's creating friction, creating gangs, and they're fighting each other over territory and supplies and stuff like that. And it's the whole lot of nonsense that could easily be avoided if we do not condone such foolish behavior. That's my point, my views on that.
So you made some good points. You got gang wars, the turf supplies, uh, injuring the people. The people are basically taking poison and so forth. And the alternative that you offer was legal a legal route of raising money and funding the initiatives for the community. I can't really fault you for those points. Anybody else?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Afro. See, with the drug dealers here, or the trappers here, they're gonna do what they're gonna do, though. Yeah, it's like, say for example, yeah, there's um there's a school that needs to be built, or not even, yeah. Like when you look at gangs and the conditions of the community, a lot of it is more conditions of poverty than drugs. Like drugs is definitely an issue, but yeah, lack of initiatives and things at a grassroots level for the community is leading to a lot of situations that end up with trauma and then lead to addiction. Do you see what I'm saying? So, with the trappers already doing what they're doing, if now the community was able to draw like get contributions or donations or whatever to certain initiatives to then target the actual source of the trauma, then there would be less people even looking to take drugs.
So like if there was a like let's say there's a domestic violence epidemic or situation within the community because that's a prevalent problem, then you're saying providing the trappers providing funding for like let's say a domestic violence shelter would prevent people from ultimately ending up on drugs because they're getting the support that they need. Is that what you're saying?
That's definitely possible. And it's like I'm saying, unless there's a way to stop the actual act in itself, the money is going to be made and it's just going to be used to build up other communities through like Italian clothes and German cars and Swiss watches.
But we have to also realize a lot of these trappers, they have no intentions of using the money for constructive means. If that was the case, then they would have, they would have used their initiatives and used that money to construct businesses of their own. You see what I'm
Well,
saying?
well, that's
So,
what the point
I,
of the conversation is to see should we encourage them. Like I mean, uh, as people wanting um to bring about different initiatives to help the community, that's usually not something that we think about doing. So that's why we're proposing this topic is that when you're looking at all of the avenues that you could gain support from, that's usually not an avenue that we pursue. So the question is, should we try to pursue that? Should we encourage them to see the value in those things?
Because if you look, they also have a lot of disposable income.
that is that
I don't know.
they have a lot of these trappers have a lot of disposable income, and they normally waste it on stuff that could go towards the betterment of our community. Uh, yeah, to a certain degree, I do want to encourage them more to contribute more to the community, but it's like it would take a lot of effort to convince them to do so. I think it will be time that not essentially wasted. Essentially, in my personal.
Hmm.
I
My thing
mean,
is, yeah,
if we look at the governments as well, they gain, they get a lot of money from drugs, and the war on drugs and drugs in general. So it's like it definitely could be something we could pursue to do. However, it would need to be well organized to do so, to ensure that these trappers, stay in line essentially.
my thing is, yeah, it's like, can we really trust these individuals to do good for their community and do right by the community while they're selling drugs in the community and destroying people's lives? But at the same time, I do understand the need for us to maintain some sort of control over these illicit organizations and some sort of force them in a way to pay contribution tax that would be going towards institutions in the community. But at the same time, I do understand why people are more like, no, these people should be excommunicated from the community. They're creating more havoc. And I do think that if they're going to sell drugs, let them sell drugs to other communities, just like the Italians, the Germans, the any other community does. You don't shit where you sleep. You know, pardon my language, but you don't really do all these things in your community. So I would say that if they were to change their whole structure of the organization. They're not just senselessly killing people. They are structured. They have a code of conduct. They have ethics. Just just like the yakuza of Japan. Uh, they sell to people that are outside the community. Then I'll be like, okay, these people are somewhat moral and somewhat have some basis and loyalty to the community. But when I see these individuals wanting more profit and to maximize their profit by destroying their own community, I don't think they'll be in a mind frame to say that yes, let's build our community together. But especially when they're disorganized and there's not a hierarchy to their organization.
Hmm.
I agree. I agree. I see it as it would take, it is possible for us to find a way to use their disposable income to advantage, but convincing them would take a whole lot of effort. It would take a whole lot of effort that on our parts, effort that we could use to we can commit that effort to something different, something greater that will ensure that we get greater profit from it rather than trying to convince these young boys and young women of what they're doing. So definitely it would take far too much effort and far too much wasted resources on trying to do that.
But
I
my thing,
believe, yeah, go on.
no, go on, bro. Finish up, sorry.
No,
But yeah, my thing is, yeah, like this is sort of the dilemma and the confliction that I have, where I see that every community around the world has now built their society and have their society through the hard work and righteous living of themselves. If you look at any society, they've funded a lot of their themselves with illicit money or even morally deficient money that has come from slavery, um, prostitution, all of these different things. So in a society that we live in, and these things are obviously going to be impact. How do we now get these individuals to adhere to a code of conduct and have a structural body like a corporation and sort of don't to your community and use the money to fund things in your community, just like the Yakuza, the Triads, the Italians, the Mafia, the Costa Nostra, all these individuals, even to the Mexican cartels, like they use their communities to lobby their own governments in America. And they help the own Mexicans in America. So it's like everyone else is doing it and they're taking that money and they're rebuilding their communities. So it's not really, where is the moral stand? Because I don't really see any community building without illicit help. I haven't seen it done. Like even Jewish people, for example, they haven't built their thing with clean money necessarily. They've you know did illicit money as well. So
So
it's like you know.
so it's just so if I'm hearing everyone right, right? Raz, you sound like you're for using the dirty money as long as they restructure they
So I say that. Can you
restructure the
say that again?
business. I
Can
said
you say that again?
it sounds like you are for using the dirty money. Let's call it the dirty money. Call it using the dirty money as long as they restructure their business, right? That's what you're saying.
Yes, to a certain extent, because for me, I would be very happy if we can build our community without that money. Um, but
But
I do
Afro, so
understand
Afro,
the sort of by all means necessary, quote unquote. And I guess every other community, the Italians, the Germans, like all of them have understand by all means necessary, even the British, you know. So it's like if all means necessary, and we find that this can help, are we
hmm
gonna turn it down? You know, because of
so
more moral high ground. You know,
right. But it sounds like Afro uh, Jaguar was saying that well, it would be nice. Like he's kind of siding with you. It would be nice, it's just that it would be a lot and take a lot of energy to try to convince them, and they clearly are not even on that page, and yada yada yada. But witness, the only one that's like, no, don't need their money. How you feeling right now, witness?
Still the same way. We don't need them. They're helping to fuel the school to the prison pipeline. And most of these trap houses tend to take place in social housing. They've started moving to the suburbs, but most of it is still in social housing. So when the police come in and they after they've conducted their sting, and they'll basically shut the place down. So we're talking about socially housed tenants suddenly finding that their premises are boarded up and no one can enter that premises for 3 months or even more. So you're helping to fuel homelessness indirectly. Plus, you're basically saying it's okay to commit crimes within your neighborhood. I think Raz said it earlier. You don't take a dump in your own home, or you don't take a dump in your.
you don't take a shit and lie in it.
Yeah, yes, basically. And I think if you start pandering to these drug dealers, which is what they are, even though they
Yeah.
call themselves trappers, they're drug dealers, drug dealing scum. Basically, you're just poisoning your own community, basically, and you're giving the message to children that it's okay to go down that line of work.
Yeah, but brother witness, do
Sure.
you not think, right? So, like I was saying, I 100% agree with you. Um, like if I had my way, a lot of these individuals would be dealt with. But do you not think, yeah, it's more about these people are gonna get their money anyways, they're gonna do what they want to do, and there's in every society there's gonna be like some sort of underground movement that fueling certain appetites, and as such it's about maintaining some sort of order. So in the society that we live in, it's not about really stopping them from dealing drugs because they're gonna deal drugs anyway. It's about really stopping them from dealing drugs in our own community, just like the mafia did, just like every other community did, especially when they have been oppressed. They find ways to, you know, get over that by going into nefarious affairs and sort of using that money to fuel their legitimate businesses and get their children into law school, into doctor schools, and all of these different things. Yes, it's bad, and yes, it's unethical, and I would not be condoning that. But in the situation that we're in, and since people are still gonna do it, do we now say that because you do this, you're outside the community, or do we try to tell them, give them some sort of structure, and tell them not to do it in your own?
I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know because I'm looking at an interesting point. I'm looking at some of the comments in the chat. There's a guy called Buddha Being '07 who says all wars need to be funded. We are in
Uh,
somewhat of a social
Be
war, so
independent.
trappers may have a small part to play. Okay,
oh,
and
bless
then
up, Buddha.
Yeah,
then
big
I've
up, brother.
seen another comment from a guy called Anonymous. Drug dealers should most definitely be contributing, but on their own, will with no encouragement. that encouragement
Okay.
could lead them to being investigated and getting heat on themselves. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if you're taking money from
Okay.
certain people and they're being investigated, once they get shut down, don't the police then start confiscating property that's linked to the drug dealers? So if they're contributing money to the community build-up, whether it's building a youth club or some building, what's going to happen to that building if it's financially linked to the
Mm-hmm.
drug dealer?
Well, I
Well,
mean,
we
there's the. Go on, sis.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, like, there's communities that have done it, and a lot of the communities that you're looking at in America, especially, and in the West, especially as well, they thrive on that. Like for the gypsies, for example, Irish travelers, they thrive on illicit behavior. The police people knew that, but they can never catch them because they have ways of siphoning funds and putting them into their resources and all these different things. Same thing with the Costa Nostra, same thing with the Triad and their Yakuza. But the difference is between those illicit organizations and our illicit organization that they actually have a brain. They actually have common sense. They actually know going over there, buying big things, big cars, big things, and all of these different feudal matters, and bringing it back home and drawing attention. That's actually a dumb move. So while these people over here, the Yakuzas, the Triads, the Cosa Nostra, they are actually building wealth. So you will never find someone that is in the Yakuza, for example, over lavish in wealth. You will never see they live in a little Japanese, what's that Japanese called? Those little Japanese houses where they live in humble. That's their whole more foundation of their own organization. They thrive on humility, honor, truth, and justice. To us, that may sound wild, but to them, they're not doing it to their own people. Do you get what I'm saying? So it doesn't count. Same thing with the Jews. Jewish people will give interest rates to and banks to non-Jews, but they won't do it to Jewish people. Why? Because they understand that if they want their community to build, they need to push their community in a certain direction. Now, the problem that we're having is that our people are not as smart. They're quite dumb, especially a lot of these individuals that are on the roads doing all this sort of madness without no actual plan, end goal, like tangible things, you know. Like I just see it as there's no real organizational structure, and everyone is buying big things to look flashy without realizing that that's actually drawing more attention to you. But I'm not saying that's everyone in these organizations. I'm saying that that's what I've seen, and I think that's what a lot of people are seeing, you know.
Okay, just really quickly. I want to take a little short break, and I want to thank the chat and thank everyone, all the viewers for watching us. Want to make sure that we're treating you good. We're reading your comments. If you have anything that you want us to read out, make sure you put constructive combos. You tag us constructive combos so that it can stand out and we can read that for you. Also, want to make sure that I introduce two people who just joined the panel. We have our brother Terry that joined us. Say peace to the fam.
Peace, 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 peace.
And our brother Scattered Mind.
Peace, peace, family.
Yes, and just real quickly, if you haven't already, like this wonderful video. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, because this is where you're gonna get that black conversation over here, right? We all about building a nation. We all about uplifting the people. So let's get back to this conversation on, hey, can we get donations from these trappers? Like, if they are option for us to build our communities, what do you think?
Hell no.
For me personally, I've been listening to a little bit of conversation in the background. Shout out to Raz. I do pick up a little bit of Raz's vibe. I think maybe Afro as well, in regards to, I think throughout history, a lot of organized crime syndicates have actually, yes, they've been negative for their communities in many aspects, but they've also been able to play some positive roles in some areas. And the reality is that this capitalist system that we live here in the UK, it almost encourages crime and criminals, I think. And because of that, and not just here in the UK, but in the West in general, and because of that, you're always going to have an element of crime. And the question would be: is would we rather have the crime that we currently have, which is wild, indiscriminate, which takes away, young people, or would you rather those criminals try to at least adhere to some kind of a code which said no women, no children, no one who's not involved, and giving money back to the community, trying to keep the drugs away from the community, and these kinds of codes here, which maybe I don't know, maybe they are hyper, I don't know, we call it like idealistic, maybe, but I think that makes more sense than if we're just gonna have crime, accepting the fact that it is as it is right now.
Okay,
we also
okay.
have
So
to.
have a similar framework to what Brother Raz was talking about. I'm sorry, Brother Afro. Go ahead.
Oh no, no, that's fine. Well, we always have to realize that compared to all these other organizations, they don't have as much attention focused on them as we do. We have more eyes on us than all these other organizations. We're pretty much set up to almost fail in lots of the government's eyes. So it is a possibility, but we would need to be very, very strict on it because it can easily go wrong and hugely backfire and cost us everything. So we need to look at the risk as well associated with that choice.
I wanted to say welcome to our brother Shakara.
Yeah, definitely.
Welcome, brother.
I just want to quickly, before your story, Shakara, I just want to quickly respond to Afro there. Because I do agree that we do get more attention. But there's also examples, like there's a guy called Black Caesar or Frank Matthews in America who a massive empire. He managed to have one of the first black criminal conferences where he brought together big, massive black criminals from across America to sit down and talk about how they wrestled away from the Italians and stuff like this. So, and actually he managed to disappear, and they still don't know where he went up to this point. So, I don't know. So there's examples of black criminals who've been able to usurp the system in some ways. I don't think it's necessary that we're always gonna not be able to beat the system. But anyway, yeah, let me let Shakara jump into the conversation now. Welcome, brother.
Welcome, brother Shaka.
So I just caught the last 3 minutes here. My answer to the question is a bit kind of put it this way, yeah. I've thought about this before, and I think at one stage of my life I'd have been like, nah, allow it, fam, yeah. But when I put things into context, yeah, if a man's gonna go into a legal business, yeah, often we get loans from banks, innit? Yeah. And if we understand the banking system and world economics, yeah, I'm not seeing too much of a difference between getting money from a bank and getting money from man them on the road. And the reality is that in the big scheme of things, the man them on road money might actually be cleaner in the immediate sense, yeah, than the actual money from the bank. That's a reality. You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna say, yeah, that if we look at it in this broad context, in principle, yeah, like we shouldn't see too much of a difference between the two. Let's put it that way. At the same time, I wouldn't say that we need to just be having, because at the end of the day, we have to account for the fact that a lot of the time the trapping is a part of what's destroying our community at the same time. So in that sense, you could consider reparations, right? But more importantly, like we need a way to engage the man them that are on it into the community work rather than the trapping. You know what I'm saying? So it's more, if we're going to do that, it would have to be part of a bigger system whereby we're channeling their efforts towards community work, not just their money. It's just what I'm saying, because it would be a contradiction if, you know, we're shorting certain things in the ends, but at the same time, we're trying to build up the community. The two things don't necessarily go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Very, very similar to what I said,
before. Brother Witness. I want to throw a question out to Brother Witness. Brother Witness, you are, starting a literacy program, right? An after-school program that focuses on making reading exciting for kids, because Many of the youth are at least reading at 2 grade levels below, right? And your neighborhood trapper just doesn't ask you, doesn't do anything. You just get a delivery of $5,000 worth of books. What are you gonna do with them books?
Gonna return it to the trapper. Never accept money from scum, because it's like you're selling your soul to the devil. There's an old-fashioned saying they have in this country. I don't know whether they have it in America. There's no such thing as a free lunch. If he's brought you those books, he's expecting you to do something for him. Maybe he's going to use your building to hide his drugs. So you're going to be pulled into the business. So I wouldn't accept it.
There will come a time. That time may never come. But I will ask a favor of you.
Okay, Godfather.
Until that day, witness, accept these books as a gift.
So what if
I mean, honestly, how many people on the panel would say no to them books?
No, I'm keeping the books.
All right, let me ask a question. In that, imagine if a corporate company is giving you a whole heap of books, would you accept witness?
I do my research on the company. If I find that they're in trouble and they're being investigated, no.
I'm just saying.
Like, what about Colgate? Colgate that pushes fluoride toothpaste and stuff like that. Like, you know.
Are you saying fluoride toothpaste pushing that is on the same as trap?
I'm saying
you're poisoning the community, man.
It's poison, yeah. It's a substance that is harmful to the body.
So what will we? What will, if we don't use the toothpaste, what will we use in substitute to that? Like,
I'll get
the food,
aloe vera, mint, and other things, man.
They actually have fluoride-free toothpaste too, for the afro. Like it's charcoal, baking soda. Yeah, there's tons of different options now. Like
baking soda, absolutely not. As the hip hop song said, baking soda. I want baking soda. So definitely not.
Oh my God! Oh,
yo, where'd you find for those?
Listen. Who, brother witness? Tell me. I'm gonna ask the chat. Put a one in the chat if you're keeping the books. Put a 2 in the chat if you're gonna give them back to the trapper.
But you know what, witness, if you don't accept baking soda, then that means you can't eat bread.
That wouldn't be such a bad thing.
Hey, family, I'm gonna drop out. I'm gonna drop out. Yeah, I'm gonna drop out and free up a space if any of the sisters want to jump on or anything. Yeah.
All right. Cool, yeah.
Well, if you drop out, bro, if you drop out, does it not end?
No. Don't watch that, bro. Trust me.
Okay.
All right, bro. But I'm in the chat still.
Yeah.
So what the chat saying? The chat, what's the chat saying? The chat is saying they keeping the books, or they getting rid of the books.
JJ's keeping the books.
JJ's keeping the book. I'm keeping the books. I ain't putting my one down, cause in case the chat ain't focused yet. I'm definitely keeping that book. But
1, you're keeping the books. 2, you're giving it back to the trapper.
So witness, yeah. There's like the trappers are offering to make a donation to build a hospital somewhere, yeah. In Nigeria, yeah. They don't want nothing in return. You know the ones there, like the trappers from Nigeria.
Wait. Did you say in Nigeria?
Yeah.
But they don't want anything in return.
No. He's not in Nigeria. He's in London, but he's from Nigeria, and he wants something to be built there, innit? So he's like, okay, look, I want to give you 50K to build this, yeah? It's anonymous donation or whatever, and no trace. I don't want nothing for it. You don't need to put in my name, anything.
He doesn't
Now,
want a plaque. He doesn't want a plaque in front of the hospital. He doesn't want his own parking spot at the hospital. He doesn't want anything. He's just gonna leave a bag there and walk away. And then when you show up, it's a bag there with money.
if he has the money, I'll tell him to go and build it himself. Why does he need to use my name? So no, he can build it himself. Use his own name. He's not gonna use my name.
For the community.
Well, everyone should honor you for your the community what you've been doing.
Really, you're gonna believe the forked tongue of a devil who's been destroying his community?
What your witness? But what if he hasn't been destroying his own community? What if he has instituted strict rules that restricted life crime in the black community, stop a lot of street crime, got a lot of the kids selling the drugs to people specifically outside of the community?
He's still a scum.
And really made a positive impact on the black community locally in general. What about that person?
That's interesting because I heard you and Raz mention code. Would you honestly trust a drug dealer to stay on code?
Yes.
Yeah, really? Yeah, because the mafia did it. The mafia, the Yakuza do it. The triads do it.
Well, you don't get it, do you? The mafia did it. But the mafia are white. So under the white supremacist system, they got given a break.
What about the Yakuzas?
The Yakuzas, I don't know. Well, they're not black, are they? So somebody mentioned earlier a person called Black Caesar or something.
Yeah, Black Caesar.
Yeah, who disappeared. Do we know any well-to-do drug dealers who've been involved in stuff who've stayed long enough? Like Frank Lucas didn't stay long enough, and all these other guys.
Black Caesar could have possibly,
the Godfather of where he's dead.
Black Caesar could be alive, possibly somewhere.
No, I don't need to live long to make a donation.
I just feel that you're taking money from something which is corrupt, which is probably being investigated. So once they get arrested, and because nowadays they're not just content to just put people in prison, they look for the property, the wealth that they own. So that money could be tied into your business or your youth club or whatever, and they're gonna come to you.
Yeah. No, but this is gonna be cash. It's gonna be untraceable bills.
Yeah, but I still say that if he's coming to you with that much cash, he wants something in return. I don't believe he wants nothing in return, and apart from that, I still think he's scum. So I wouldn't do it.
Fair enough. But like Shakara was saying though, like taking money from a bank, also from the government, like there's loads of situations you could say, because at least if the government at least is killing people, right? Through the army, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to accept money from the government is basically equivalent, no?
I would say so.
I would defer to an interesting comment I saw in the chat by someone called Selector Oneness. Smart or not, why sell soul to set? Lower our moral standards to match with the level of the heathens for sake of material gain. So why should we lower our standards?
He talks like witness, all right. Yeah, I get what he's saying, but if you have a policy where you are for your people, and you sort of put in things that you will not sell drugs to your people, you will not steal from your people, you will not cheat from your people, all those good, Marcus Garvey rules that everyone likes to abide by. If they abide by that and would sell drugs to other communities and pollute other communities in order to get ahead, in order to make money, I would rather them do that than do it in their own backyard, if that makes sense.
So Brother Witness, does it matter if it's in their backyard or not? Would that change things?
I don't want them there, period. I want to be able to change the mindset so that people don't even feel the need en masse to think that is a way out of poverty.
100%.
So I don't want to pander to it. I don't want to massage it or stimulate it. Because, you look at parts of America in the 1980s, what crack did, and the country's never recovered in those parts. You see what's happening in the UK. So to me, I'm like, no, find a way in which the community can find a way to like deal with crime, because outside sources aren't really interested in solving the problem. So that's why I wouldn't see them as, I would be more interested in the community finding a way to police itself and get rid of the trappers, but not to like pander to them, regardless of how much money they make.
Witness, question now, yeah? Let's say somebody said, all right, you know what? I've been trapping, yeah, but I want to stop in it. And I realize that like we're destroying our community with this thing, and we need to be able to police ourselves in it, yeah? Like, just, you know what I'm saying? So like we can get the drugs and whatever out of our areas, yeah? So they said to you, all right, I'm going to give you however much, yeah, to set up a kind of a community policing kind of operation, yeah? And I'm going to help you set it up because I know where everything is. I'm going to try and bring my man, you know what I'm saying, the man them on it as well, because we're trying to, you know, do something different, yeah? How would that sound to you?
That would be a case of me having to trust him, that he wouldn't be doing something sly behind my back.
Yeah, you would have to trust him.
Can I trust him? I don't know. I mean, he'd have to be like Malcolm X, someone who's definitely not going to go back to crime. And I don't. Malcolm X was one of a kind. I couldn't trust that person. Me personally, no, I wouldn't trust him. No.
I'm gonna say that Malcolm X wasn't one of a kind, though. He was and he wasn't. In respect to the fact that his history was not unique to him in the sense that many, and he was involved in reforming many that were on the same path as him before he came to the Nation of Islam. I'm saying he was one of a kind in terms of the man was this next level was amazing. But in terms of being a reformed, quote unquote, criminal, there are many who went through that journey.
I know, I accept that. The question is, would I be able to trust this person? Because I'm assuming if I do, this person will be probably bringing in people who used to trap, who probably want to change their ways. So the organization is going to be filled with people who committed crime,
yeah,
and want to change their ways. And the question is, am I willing to trust and give them a second chance?
Well, somebody has to.
Yeah, somebody has to. Am I willing to do that? That is a very hard question. I don't know. My gut instinct is to say no, I wouldn't trust them. But I understand the importance of giving people a second chance and them bringing good into the community. But I don't know if I would be willing to trust someone who's done that and spent time in prison. I don't know. I've come into contact with too many people who've done that, and they say they've changed, but they still talk gloriously about their past. So no, I'm sticking with no. I ain't gonna trust them. No, I will kindly decline them and say thanks, but no thanks.
Okay. Well, we got some more feminine energy on the panel. Welcome to Sister 9 Ether 99.
Bless up, sis. Bless up. Sorry, I'm reaching a little bit late, but you don't know mother duties. Yeah, man. Ever glad to be with the family. I didn't quite catch the beginning, but I think I'm where I need to be. But just summarize again, sis, so I can give up a proper
So we're talking about that. Should we encourage trappers to contribute to the community? So the scenario is you are in the process of building a after-school program that focuses on literacy, and because most of our youth are reading 2 or even 3 grade levels behind, and you want to get fun and inviting you materials, and this trapper in your neighborhood, makes an anonymous donation of $5,000 in books for your program. Are you keeping the books?
He's done it anonymously, yeah?
Yes, it's right in front of the building. The boxes of books are right there.
So all I know is that he's a trapper and he's made a donation, yeah?
Yep.
And he's not in the first instance asked for anything. He's just made the initial donation, and it's for me to either accept or refuse.
Yep.
Yeah, you know my answer, sis. Yeah, I'm taking it, man.
All right.
Yeah, I'm taking it, man. I was listening to Witness still, and I do agree with some of the points that he made still. You know, especially in terms of, you know, there's no such thing as a free lunch. I can definitely appreciate that sentiment. I guess I mean, now, just in the first instance, I'll say I will take it in it. But it depends what kind of trapper he is still. Cause not every trapper, yeah. Am I
So he
going
got to
too
give you
far?
his trapper. He got to give you his trapper resume just to make a donation.
Well, you see, again, I'm referring to what Witness said, and that's what I'm saying.
It's
It
not a
depends.
listen, sis. It's not a
Go on.
business deal. It's not a business deal.
All right,
He's
I'm
not,
taking it, sis. I'm taking it.
okay. It's not like, would you let me stand here? You know, I'm gonna give you these books, but I want to meet all of the kids. You know, I'm gonna donate the books, but you gotta let me take pictures with, like, no, just books. That's it.
All right. Well, in the first instance, I would certainly say yes, sis.
Okay.
However, I could appreciate why Witness or such that would on the you know, be cautious, be a little bit cautious, because I do believe that, you know what I mean, that sort of quote of "there's no such thing as a free lunch." I don't know, no. So because we're being a bit hard. No, may I take it? And I'm gonna say thank you. Yes, I'm
He
gonna
said, no,
take
I
it,
take it.
and I'm gonna
Okay,
say
so
thank you. Yes, I
I
am.
want to go across the panel and ask the panel, taking books or money from the government, yay or nay? Sister Nine Ether.
Sis, for that follow-on questioning.
Yes.
Well, you see now, you see, I don't consider it as taking money from the government. You with me? Because I've paid my taxes. You understand? So I just take back my money. And my mum and dad and other family members, we've all paid taxes. So yeah, my money. So yeah, I'm gonna take that. Take that.
Okay. Brother
Yeah.
Jaguar, you taking money from the government for the community?
For the community, definitely. Oh my gosh.
Yo,
They owe us, man. And I truly believe that, man.
Yep.
Okay. Did you hear the question, Brother
Kind of
Afro?
chipping out a bit. Can't really hear properly.
Okay. Come back when your line is fixed up. Brother E, you taking money from the government?
Yeah, why not? Like
Okay.
Ethan's saying, they're gonna put money in for books, but at the same time, obviously, if it needs to be just a donation, there can't be some strings attached. We get to make some decisions, kind of thing.
Okay. So you're not for like the government funded program. You're not for that.
Nah, like
Government funded
that
program.
there's levels to this, innit? That's like a lower level, innit? In terms of of ideal.
Okay. So that's close to no, but not yet no.
Yeah,
Okay.
like there might be some situations where it could work, but like you'd have to look at the specifics, like, but on a general basis, no.
Okay. Brother Raz, government programs, government funded programs. Raz? Okay. Got it?
Yeah, I mean, when you say government program, do you mean the government get to instruct me on what to do? That what I would not accept, but I definitely don't mind taking government funding.
Okay. Well, usually when it's government funded, there's some sort of oversight.
Yeah, there's oversight, but sometimes, like, for example, government funding might be, for example, to increase diversity in like the number of business owners, for example. So, like, I would take that funding because that goes in line with my aims. I mean, of giving Black business owners the opportunities. Whereas if the funding was something that goes against or something where the government's telling me specifically to do something which isn't going to be an interest, then obviously I'm going to say, yeah, I'm not taking that funding.
Okay. Brother Raz, can you talk?
Yeah,
Government funded. You taking money from the
my answer
government?
is exactly the same as Scott, to be honest. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's the same as Scott's.
Shakaran?
Yes, sorry. I was out the room. But yeah.
You said yes?
No, I missed the question.
Oh, I was asking you, would you be taking government funded? Are you open to government funded for community programs?
It depends on what it is. Yeah, it depends on what it is. There are certain things that I just wouldn't take government funding for. And it's hard to define what that is, but yeah, it depends on what it is and the context. It depends on how much oversight I want on what I'm doing. That's a really rubbish answer. Yeah.
And Brother Witness, where you stand on this?
No, the government can take that money and stick it where the sun don't shine. I set up 3 organizations. I set it up through charities, Kickstarters, fundraising. I have complete autonomy, or the people I'm working with, we have autonomy. We get to make our own decisions. We're not swayed by any political decisions or political maneuvers. So no, I wouldn't take the government money.
Brother Witness is the wild card, guys. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you know. Can I just give you an example of what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So at one point, I was doing some work with some brothers and sisters, and they were trying to find a way, to access the probation services, because a lot of people reoffending, get in because of whatever deficiencies there are in the probation services, and so there was money being there was a possibility of money being accessed, but because basically it was a government funded program, innit? Now they were going to do their own thing. My mum was involved in the process, and because of it, we would have to, liaise with certain police and them kind of things there, whatever. In a situation like that, because of the type of work that was being done, it was near enough impossible to avoid relationships with certain authorities. You know what I'm saying? If we wanted access to our people within the institutions. So as a compromise in a situation like that, depending on, what it is, especially because it wasn't my personal program, if that makes sense. I was involved in something. That's something that I might agree to in terms of accepting government funding, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I can dig it. I wanna get some crowd participation. So the people in the chat, put a 1 if you would take government funding, or 2 if they could stick it where the sun don't shine, like Brother Witness said. So 1 for government funding, 2 for stick it where the sun don't shine. And either somebody with a computer can tell me what the chat is saying.
I got a question here. Say for example, say trapping, being the effect, not the cause, what initiatives would we need more of to reduce trapping in the community?
Jobs, plain and simple. Jobs and opportunities. But I think, jobs and opportunities is the main one. But mentoring from young age for these kids, but mainly it's jobs and opportunities.
Yeah, I agree with Scattered. I would say jobs would help out a lot, because I think that a lot of our community members are in those positions due to poverty. So I don't think that people just want to be like just kill people or sell poison. Like they just like that's so fun. And I think it's a certain level of necessity that they feel the need to do that, and a lack of opportunity. So you have a need and lack of opportunity, and that puts you in compromising positions. So, for me, we create jobs. We did, when all of our men were in the factories working and they had made good money, and they was able to put food on the table, and the wife was happy, and she home with the kids. I mean, there were people on drugs, but nowhere near like this. Nowhere near.
You would also need some form of distraction for the for potential people to join. So you'd need to have some, I don't know, ranging from youth clubs to maybe sports programs, or even trade, you know, carpentry courses, anything that would help people attain a vocational training that they could use that skill to go off and get a job. That's it. The community, yeah.
Like, so say now, yeah, if the solution is jobs, yeah, but like the main employer is another community, isn't that a big problem?
Oh, well, when I said jobs, I wasn't meaning jobs from another community. I was saying, when you said what would some possible things would be needed, and I said jobs, I meant like our community creating jobs. You know,
This
like
is what I'm saying. So like, isn't part of the solution meaning that we need to increase our like our creation of jobs?
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm thinking if we have well, not institutions, but like I said, we've got youth clubs. But apart from that, we're providing vocational training on being a plumber, roofing, so you can actually start your own business as a sole trader and be autonomous. And you could be doing work within the community. Everybody needs a plumber, a roofer, carpentry, so electrician, all that type of vocational training.
True. But usually those are for communities that own their own people who own their own houses. Do you know what I mean? If you need your house, any of those things done, quite often in a black community, if people live in council housing or things, or depend on council sort of help for those sorts of things, they'd have to go to whoever the council provides for them for it.
But I don't know, if we have the skill there, we would still need to use the council, because the council doesn't exactly do a very good job when it comes to fixing problems in flats or housing, like we saw with
But the government, but the council won't just give you the money so you can go and pay someone you know to fix your plumbing. Do you know what I mean?
But so you're saying that even if you had more black people actually having trades, you know, skilled trades, that because they're not at the place where they're homeowners, that would still be a barrier. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Like, we're not gonna say a barrier. Like, if those people have skills, those people will be able to get jobs no matter what. That'll be good for them. But if those people have skills and their hope is to be able to do work for their local black community, it depends on whether the council are hiring them to do the jobs. Do you know what I mean? Unless that black community owns their house or owns their property, then they get to decide, you know, well, then like legally they have to go out and get their own people to do it for themselves. Whereas if you depend on the council to pay for your plumbing or anything like that for you, yeah, the council are going to choose who delivers that plumbing. It's like government contracts, you know, sis. Like one plumbing company will get the contract for the council.
No, I got you.
I mean, one way around that, I suppose, would be having black councillors then giving out the contracts, you know.
Anyone else have any ideas of like what type of solutions that we could any sort of initiatives to have? I guess if these trappers did contribute, you know, what that would look like.
I think we should have more kind of business startup initiatives at a younger age, you know. So when they're like 14, they can start making money by doing legal things, and they can use their energy and their hustle and the internet and technology to make proper money at a young age, and use like some of the skills that they will be using on the streets. because I think like for trappers, one of the things is very difficult for them to transition from being a trapper to a non-trapper. Like it's quite difficult because there's like there's a knowledge gap in terms of it's a different route in it. Like they've gained knowledge in the route that they've taken, but the route that they've voided is is unknown.
Definitely. And also, sorry, go ahead.
Now we need to condemn these people, because if they were white drug dealers, we wouldn't hesitate. The moment they've got melanated skin, we start coming up with excuses to kind of pander to them. A drug dealer, a scumbag is a scumbag, regardless of race, regardless of whether they have money which can help a community. Just don't use them. Don't see them as a way of the community surviving. The way you do that, that lies degradation. The moral fiber of the community goes down the toilet. That's the way I see it.
Shakira, was you going to say something earlier? No. Okay, I thought I saw you come up. I heard you. Okay, Raj, you going to say something?
Oh, no, sir. No. Continue.
Yeah. So basically, I was gonna say I understand where you're coming from with this. Like, I definitely do. However, I feel like that, I don't think that it's a matter of black or white. Like, I think we are talking specifically about our community, and I think the white community have done this sort of thing. I don't think we necessarily have called them scumbags. Like the mafia themselves, even when you watch The Godfather and all these movies, they say it like, "Oh, let's just sell the drugs to the niggers, etc., etc." Excuse me for using that language, but I'm just saying exactly what they say. So even though that this thing happens, and that we see white criminals do that, you know, how many black people do you know that name themselves after Italian gangsters and mobsters and look up to these Italians still? I don't think it's necessary that we would look down on one group or another. I think the issue is more on, I think the Western system that we live in today encourages crime because capitalism in itself is criminal in many ways.
Capitalism.
Yeah. Capitalism in itself is criminal in many ways, and actually, and that's why it's difficult to say, okay, well, we won't take anything from a drug dealer for the community. However, we're gonna fill up our coach to take the community on this trip with petrol from Shell or for one of these big oil companies which do massive amounts of exploitation. So in places that we know, so yeah, I mean, like it's and actually help back coups and things like this. So yeah, for me, it's like I feel like we shouldn't have a double standard with this. And yeah, drug dealers are bad, but majority of the businesses that we work and we live with today, a lot of the technology that we use today comes around because the system that we live in actually in itself is bad. And actually, if we could use the drug dealers to get out of or to change the system, why would we not do that?
Yeah, I think when this topic was initially raised, I definitely was on the position of witness, like no, and not to. It's not that I feel like any different from people who are like poisoning the community. I think thinking about some of the things that it takes to get a person to that place, right? And it's almost like they're within the cycle that's in motion, right? So, at some point there needs to be intervention. You pick an intervention, whether it's helping out the family, whether it's creating jobs or such and such, in order for later on down the line for you not to have a trapper, right? But to put all of the blame on the trapper when there is systems put in place to produce a trapper and ignore that is kind of like, it's kind of not, I don't know, it's not fair. So put the blame where it belongs. Yes, that person is making the choice to engage in those things based off of X, Y, and Z options, X, Y, and Z history, X, Y, and Z life experiences that they've had, X, Y, and Z opportunities that they did not have access to. So I think all of those things need to be factored in when you're evaluating this. And then this person, this quote unquote bad person, actually has resources that they want to do something good with, I think that, I don't know, that could be the change to help them to become a better person, you know?
Yeah.
Drug dealers, murderers, do they kill people?
Huh?
Do drug dealers kill people?
I don't think all of them do. I don't think that's a prerequisite.
Does
Yeah, I
their
don't
work
think it's
indirectly lead to the death of people?
I don't think it's that regular. But
I mean,
say no, yeah. Witness.
anyone who works in a butcher is killing people too, giving them heart disease and high blood pressure and diabetes. So are they killing people?
But drug dealers are just scumbags.
They're scumbags. Anyone who works in the deli part, the meat part of the grocery store, or a butcher, you're bad. You're a trapper.
But witness, what about
I'm
helping
the
the
wrong
fallen
person to
though?
say that to, though, because I don't eat meat, so I don't give the butcher my money.
I know, but do you
Witness.
think
But
they're
Willis,
trappers?
you drive. You
One
drive
sec.
cars.
Witness.
Sorry, what was that? Do I what?
Drive.
What about
No, I've got a license, but I don't drive.
what about helping the fallen though?
Oh yeah, I would help the fallen. So I would help black people who are homeless. I would look into the care home system, see a lot of black kids who are there longer than they should be because black couples, for whatever reason, are not adopting them. So I'd find a way to support them. I would look at a way of trying to make people more aware to contribute blood so that when black people are in need of help, they can get blood. So there are many things that you can help black people with. It doesn't have to be drug dealers.
Are pharmaceutical companies scum? Question from the audience.
Yep.
So all of our black people that got diabetes, we shouldn't encourage them to take their insulin.
Oh,
they're supporting the trappers called a pharmaceutical company.
Okay, so then we have to go right to the beginning of this discussion. We had the discussion at definition of what a trap house was and what a trapper is. It didn't, and we had a very specific definition. Now it seems the definition is changing.
No. I'm stretching the definition because part of it sounds like what's really getting to you is how their actions are killing our people, right? And what I'm saying is that the pharmaceutical companies are definitely killing our people, and the Food and Drug Administration definitely killing our people, and they're killing the Food and Drug Administration gets you while you're nice and healthy, then the pharmaceutical company, they scoop you up and get your pockets when you need all that medication once you're sick. So
I medicate myself. I don't use medicine. And if I wanted to deal with the pharmaceutical companies, I would have to be in more of a powerful position like a politician in an African country, so I could actually say, no, I don't want your inoculations or vaccinations coming into my country. But I don't have that power. I'm not at that level where I can stop them.
Mhm.
But yeah, fair enough. So we've got like a couple of comparisons then to trappers then, right? So we've got pharmaceutical companies. Then, well, yeah, to be fair in it, it's like everywhere you look, if it's a big corporation, there's going to be something that you could basically align with what the result of trapping is.
Is there a way we could find a way of trying to police? Does anyone have any ideas the way we could like police the community to kind of reduce those people from having the freedom to just do what they're doing within that community? Because if we know that it's destroying the community and the powers that be are not doing anything to stop it, those who are living in that community, is there a way they can do something? I don't know.
What would we do in terms of so we go to the trap house, yeah, and lock down the trap house? What we doing with the trappers?
Oh, I never said that. No.
So you never said what?
I never said that people would actually directly you know, go to trap houses.
So how would we be policing the community?
That's what I'm asking. I've seen something which happened in an estate in, I think it was Hackney, or not Hackney, where the people got so fed up because they can see the drug dealers dealing in public and it's causing antisocial problems in their community. So they formed a little group and they basically started gathering evidence and information. And then they started basically using that information to have people prosecuted, basically doing the work of the police for them.
So they call the police?
Well, they didn't necessarily call the police because they found by calling the police that wasn't working.
Right.
So what they were doing was they were gathering information from filming. So when deals were taking place, they were filming stuff. It was in the news about 3-4 weeks ago. It was a part of London. And the people in that estate, they started gathering that evidence, which they then started providing to various authorities so that they could then use that evidence to then start making arrests. Because they got tired of just doing it the normal way of making phone calls and waiting for help.
See, now, I'd only be comfortable with that scenario if, for example, the system like what I was talking about earlier, yeah, is in place. As in, we've got like a system within the system that is receiving these people. Yeah. What's that noise? Oh, someone needs to mute their mic.
Is it still there? Can you hear it? I think it might be. I'll mute mine now.
I think it's Brother E.
All right. Yeah. To the point. Yeah, I'm just saying I'd only be comfortable with that if there's a system in place, because, like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with just sending man to jail. if we're developing something to police our own community, I feel like there has to be a reform aspect to it. Yeah.
Do you know what they, bro? Do you know what they do in Ireland with drug dealers?
What?
They first, they tell them to stop. The IRA, they tell them to stop. If they don't stop, they shoot them in the knee. If they don't stop, they just get deaded.
And you know what? That there may come a time when them kind of antics are necessary. You get me?
Yeah, man. I think because like it's sort of like certain things in our community are holding us back, and certain aspects of us also holding us back. So we can't deny that these aspects there are some of the aspects that are holding us back. You know.
Yeah, I don't think that we can deny that. You know, we have like a code of, like, you know, no snitching, or, you know, sending people to jail. You know, I know very well, like, the police aren't treating black people, you know, any sort of decency in the United States. So, like, for me, that's like a big no-no. Like, you know, they, you know, I don't know.
So we have trappers in the community who are black, who are basically messing up their own community, but people don't want to do anything because they're afraid to snitch, or because rightfully they don't believe in the system.
No, so it's not that people don't want to do anything.
Here's the problem with that, though. Yeah, this is the problem with that. If there's trappers in the community, it's not the trappers that made the community bad. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the community was already in a certain way for trapping possible in the first place. You see what I'm saying? So look, when we begin to focus on the trappers and the trapping outside of the context of the community itself and what the community is and is not doing, that's the problem. That's why I'm saying if we're gonna be policing our own community, if our own young people that belong to it, yeah, then we can't just be about criminalizing them. There has to be a reform element. There has to be something, because essentially you're organizing the community. You're not trying to get rid of trapping. You're trying to clear a community. So you have to have a community ethos. Yeah? And sending your own children to jail, to me, is not very community orientated. Now, I'm not even saying that there are some people that we might just have to get off road, yeah, because they're a danger to whoever and themselves, and blah, 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 blah.
Sometimes, so you do agree that there are those who are violent and will do bad things to black people?
definitely. I'm not even saying that there are easy answers to these questions. What I am saying though is that our emphasis there needs to be an emphasis on reform rather than criminalization, because the system.
Okay, how would you reform them, Shakara? Someone who's making 20,000 a week with a trap house, what's the process for reforming that person?
Put it this way, yeah. There are people in our communities that have experience with that work, and so we rely on their experience. We train others with what they need to be able to do that work, and we develop institutions out of it. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I said, some of it is we need to get them in a space whereby they're not in the environment that that is conducive to shopping. So it may be we need to get them off road. So we need to get them, depending on what age they're at, we need to get them to a young offenders institution or whatever else like that. But we need to be connected with that so that we're able to do work with those young people. You know what I'm saying?
Young offenders institution, but that's like ties in with what I said earlier. Because if you're doing something, they're going to the young offenders instead of going to prison.
Yeah, but my point is that I would only be fully comfortable with it if we have influence in the young offenders institution, which we may need to be able to do, if that makes sense. I'm saying that wherever we're establishing, the emphasis has to be on reformation rather than criminalization. Otherwise, we're just doing the work of the system for them. That's what I'm saying. I'm not even saying these things are easy. Yeah, because it will be enough easier to call Babylon. I said to them, come pick up the pitney. Yeah, because I said, whatever on the road. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying that if we're talking about community and cleaning up our community, we're not doing that just by calling the police on it, because oftentimes in these areas, we should all know that the police have a hand in whatever's going on road. That's just a reality that we have to contend with.
We've all seen Training Day. We all know.
We've all seen it. We've all seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but if you live in the ends and you know
You're
what's going on,
gonna do this to me?
right? You know what I'm saying? Like if all of us know what going on in the end, the police must know what going on in the ends of it. They know what the rest is going on. Yeah.
And some of them are even dirtier. Some of them are even dirtier and more scummy than the individuals that they are dealing with.
Yeah, that's fine.
We are approaching our last 15 minutes of the show. If you're liking the discussion that's going on and you want to carry it on, you'd like to chat it up with Sister Nine Ether and Brother Shakarai and Brother E, man like Reggie just joined us. Make sure you tap on that link that's in the chat for Join CC. Join us for the after hour conversation where we could kind of pick your brain, you could pick our brain, and we chop it up. So and also make sure you like and subscribe our channel, so that way you hit the notification bell and you'll be hit to the next hot topic. Brother E's gonna let us know what the next topic is for next week in just a moment. Brother Shakarai, was you getting ready to say something? I think I stopped you from talking.
I'm finished. Go ahead.
I just wanted to quickly say something. There's someone in the chat called Selector Oneness. He said, time for us all to seriously free our minds from mental slavery by simply working on not being dependent on being trapped by these dealers. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So is it kind of like, is Brother Witness the only person here that is kind of like having a strong stance on drug dealers?
Well, Brother Witness not only has a stance on drug dealers, he has a stance on government support as well. So we kind of touched on both issues, and other people gave different stances on maybe support under certain types of conditions within the community, how a drug dealer runs the operation might impact their willingness to accept help. Other people were wanting to accept help with based on an anonymous perspective, no actual legal connections, no photo opportunities, no involvement in whatever community venture was started. What's your perspective, Reggie?
I don't think I know much enough about it. I mean, myself personally, I don't see how. I think that the people need to be reformed before we can really think of taking them, along with us in the community, because it's more of a detrimental thing to the community than a positive thing by far. I don't see any good that can come out of, out of that kind of thing. I don't see anything good that can come out of it, to be honest.
Okay. So I'm gonna see if brother solving the race problem has a response, and then I'm gonna come back to you with our reading after school program scenario. Okay.
Okay, cool. And peace to all the. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna just say blessings, brother solving the race problem. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, peace, melanated. I appreciate y'all having me. Peace to the UK family. Peace to all the brothers and sisters on the panel. Peace to the listener audience and everybody who's going to hear the playback. If possible, I want to chime in on the last topic that you were just discussing, and then I'll listen in for the perspectives on the new topic, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, so as far as the last perspective, I think is something interesting to keep in mind, and I mentioned this in the chat, is that people who are trapping, people who are selling drugs, the dynamic that we can't get away from is that these conditions are set and established by the dominant society. These people who are selling drugs are not doing it out of matter of will and want. This is a matter of convenience. This is a matter of lack of economic opportunity. So they give them this easy way to economically advance somehow in society that they only allow them to do through illegal means. So trappers are created by the white power structure. If they didn't want them selling drugs, there would be economic opportunities in the community. So here's what I would say to that. Specifically here in the United States, I can say, at least from several cities I've been in, it's not a matter of ignorance. The brothers there know. You could go to them on a corner and say, hey, like, you can get killed out here, right? Yeah, I know. You can get locked up out here, right? Yeah, I know. This money isn't good money that you're getting. Yeah, I know, right? But what do you have to replace it? Like, if you're going to pull the rug from underneath somebody's feet and get these brothers off the streets, what other economic opportunities do you have, which would lead to a bigger conversation of what economic opportunities are we providing these brothers if we're going to say, stop trapping, get out the community, selling that filth that white people gave you, mind you. Stop selling that filth. Here's another economic opportunity. And my last point, that I'm not just saying white people are dropping off the drugs and doing this. If you wanted a research point, you could look up the Kerry Committee, where the United States State Department has already been proven to give hundreds of thousands of dollars to the cocaine manufacturing, the cocaine distribution that was put into black cities that decimated a lot of majority black cities in America. That's called the Kerry Committee. If anybody wanted to do their homework and fact check what I'm saying, but I'm gonna go ahead and mute and listen to y'all, Bill.
Can I reply to some of the points we made?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, brother.
I think I'm a bit more up to speed now. It looks like in the USA, I can't really speak much for you guys because it's a different challenge that you guys face there. But in terms of the UK, we seem to have opportunities to, get jobs. I don't think the situation in terms of getting jobs is that extreme for black people in the UK. Even though there are people struggling for work, and to get a good job may be a bit tough, but there's opportunity for jobs that will tide you over, give you somewhere to live. But if you want a job where you're going to be comfortable, then that's another struggle. So I don't know. Maybe it comes down to what people's ambitions are in life, and that can sometimes push people to go for fast money or easy money, as they call it. But yeah,
bro, do you live in London, bro?
Yeah, I live in London. Yeah.
All right. I'm asking because the idea that there's enough job going around there to give you like a living wage is mad to me. Like, you get me? I don't know. A couple of years ago, a stat came out that said that 55% of young black men are unemployed. You get me?
What was the statistic? How much?
55% of black men.
But are
My goodness.
So young black men, not black men.
they like racism?
Huh?
Because I want to know if that many are unemployed, why are there so many other people from other parts of the world who seem to be getting jobs? So is it because there aren't jobs, or is it because there's racism? I mean, there must be a reason why it's that high.
It's all of the above. What's it called? There's a difficulty with jobs. There's difficulty with living wage. What's it called? And then there's the racism aspect. And then there is the economic climate, because London is a city where my house pricing for rent and mortgage is astronomical. You see what I'm saying? So it's difficult to get a job that's going to pay you a living wage in London. That's what it is.
So that's the different thing. You're saying it's difficult to get a job that will pay you a living wage, but it's not difficult to get a job. So it's two different things, isn't it? Really.
Well, what's the point of having a job if you can't live off of it?
This is what I'm saying. And we I don't know if you lot watch Question Time, but almost every week there's a conversation about 0-hour contracts and people and food banks. And so it's not just the black community that are facing these things. There's a general condition in the UK and in London in particular that is giving rise to certain economic challenges. That's what I'm saying. So, you know?
Yeah, I know about that because I worked in IT for a while. Then I ended up being unemployed for 2 years. And then I had to get a job as a kitchen porter, working in the kitchen. I didn't want to do that. And I didn't want to go down the route of committing crime. I thought, get a job. It's not going to be a good job. The money's not going to be anywhere near as good as the stuff that I was doing. But I did it. And then whilst I was there, I was able to get a better job. There has to be a sense of accountability in our discussion. We can't keep making excuses for people who choose to go down the life of crime.
Okay, because some people, at the same time, some people are like, okay, I'm like, you could have said, oh, I'm too qualified to do kitchen porting. I'm not gonna get a job. I'm not gonna go and take a job until I get what I believe I'm worth. But you had to humble yourself and do a job maybe that you wouldn't really have liked to do. And some people are not willing to do that. And that's why, you know, the UK has left obviously Europe, and a lot of the conversation was about, you know, people from outside coming to take UK national people's jobs, and people would argue that, oh, they're not willing to do certain jobs. So it's the same kind of argument.
Maybe that's an oversimplification.
Say that again. Hello.
What'd you say, Brother Raz? What'd you say, Raz?
So do you think that's an oversimplification?
Possibly, yes.
Yeah, possibly it could be.
So real quick, family, because we kind of running down to the last 3 minutes of the show. You know, we're trying to be punctual, end everything on time. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to encourage everyone, if you like this discussion, hit the Join CC link and be part of the little after chat that we have afterwards, and you can chop it up with everyone. I want to give an opportunity for people to plug their shows. You know, we here at CC, we kind of, you know, pay it forward. You know what I mean? And we support each other. It's all about unity. It's all about building up and teaming up with awesome black people. So, Sister Nine Ether, you can tell them about your Rice and Peas show on Sundays, right? Where they could get their choice of good information, building discussions about race and motherhood and community and the youth and gang violence and all kinds of topics. You'll find 9ether99 is her YouTube channel, and it's every Sunday around 1:30 p.m. UK time. In addition, we got Brother Shakara. You got a whole bunch going on, so I'm gonna let you plug yourself.
Yeah, just let me just plug the one thing that's happening. Well, actually, two things. So the first thing is Friday. This coming Friday, at midnight UK time, and 7 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, we're going to be addressing a Pan-African response to the ADOS attack. Yo, I swear, who's that? E, you're making bare noise, my G.
My bad.
Fair noise and that, buddy. Yeah. What's it? I must say, yeah. So basically, for the last couple of weeks, I've hardly been able to have a conversation about somebody asking me about ADOS. So we're going to address it, but we're going to be more looking at, not necessarily because there are many things in the ADOS program that we support, but I've got an international panel. I've got a brother by the name of Amawale Africa from Philly, a sister by the name of African Esquire. I've got my brother Abiola Soul from France, and my brother Scattered Minds joining us as well. So we're going to have a Pan-African worldwide global response to kind of some of the characterizations of the ADOS ideologists in terms of what they said. You know what I'm saying? And finally, check out Got Push TV. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Let's Google. Let's search that on YouTube. Got Push TV, and that's that. And somebody else needs to mute their mic. They're noise in that. Hold that. I think it's.
So when the race problem, you want to talk about your channel as well?
Not bad.
Solving the race problem?
Hey, peace to everybody. I did want to say you can go ahead and check out Solving the Race Problem. Type that into YouTube. I have a channel. I do put out content. And if you liked what I talked about here, definitely come check me out on my channel. Again, that's Solving the Race Problem. And make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. This is a great channel to, bring everybody together. It's a hub of constructive Black intellectuals. So, come here and subscribe. Also, subscribe to Solving the Race Problem. I at least drop one video a day. So, come check out and support what I'm doing.
Awesome. Well, family.
Melanie, we got 30 minutes left there.
Oh, my dad. We started at 4:30. Why did I think we started at 6? And so did B2 just text me and said 5 minutes left. Okay. I'm sorry.
No drama.
Okay, family.
But yeah, so like with the choppers, is there any other?
So what we got? We got 20 something minutes or?
Yes, we do.
30 minutes left.
All right. Okay.
I'm sorry.
You got something that you want to say? Go to, bro.
I'd like to hear the reforms, the reformation. If you want to help reform people, I'd like to hear those ideas. If they're good, I'll definitely support that. If anyone has any ideas to help reform people.
That's a good one, actually.
So there's some work that I know of. I'll just use examples of the work that I know of. The Social Solutions Institute does work in terms of gang intervention, in terms of squashing certain beefs between different people that are warring for different estates and them kind of things there. It obviously is specialized work because you're dealing with sensitive issues and often people that are dealing with deaths, on both sides of an equation. So that's why I say when we're dealing with all this stuff, like there's a lot of things that we have to look at. You know what I mean? I know some young people that have just lost their mum, and the prospect for some of them are not looking particularly good because they're dealing with that trauma in an environment that is already suited to going down certain roads. So there's all kinds of family counselling and kind of things that is needed as well. There is also rites of passage programs like the Manhood Academy for Boys, Origin, and then kind of things there whereby young people are taken through a process of learning about their environment, learning about what's it called, the world as we know it, the world that they live in and their place in it, and how trapping relates to the international economy, how the ends became the ends. You know what I'm saying? What was it about the areas in which we live that made them susceptible to becoming riddled with drugs and guns and them kind of things there? And oftentimes, with this particular point, I have first-hand experience that the information that you give a young person in terms of how the economy of their area, including the drug economy, came to be what it is, can sometimes blow their mind. And so all these things are aspects of a broader program in terms of getting people off road. The missing link is definitely an economic program whereby we can get them into their own or our own self-sufficient, self-reliant businesses that are serving our community. We haven't got there yet. But so the question of how do you reform is not really a simple one to answer. It involves a lot of different aspects and a lot of technical kind of work. You know what I mean? So yeah.
also
So
think like targeting the problem from multiple different areas. Like I kind of brainstorm with different people about like mentorship programs for the youth. Um, I forgot what they call it, but like programs for people who are returning from prison, and just programs to get them acclimated, helping them to get a driver's license, helping them um educating them on the laws in which certain companies can actually get tax breaks for hiring a felon. So arming them with that information and arming them with the proper paperwork to even submit to employers to make them more appealable in order to employ. Those are certain programs that would kind of help someone feel like they don't have a choice but to go back to that lifestyle, because I think a lot of that is, so even if someone gets incarcerated, when they come out, what options are there for them? Is it just back to the streets? Is there something that they're able to sustain themselves? So when Shakara talks about a livable wage, that's what a previous trapper is going to need. They're going to need a livable wage. They need to live, or else that lifestyle is going to automatically seem more appealing. So, yeah, those are just some examples I would throw out there.
Mm.
The question was like, what, like as far as rehabilitation and stuff like that, right?
Mm.
All
Well,
good,
I
man.
don't think you guys would like another suggestion, such as devoting yourself to a religion that's known to
Are you
help
joking?
some people.
Yo, big
Man
Eh,
said
up,
devote yourself to
JJ.
religion.
eh,
Yo,
that's known to help some people.
can you finish what you were saying, please,
It's about to
Bridget?
get
I
good.
didn't hear it. I didn't hear.
I think as long as the religion is voodoo, you know what I mean?
Nah.
Gotta love it. Gotta
Can
love
we
it.
not have this religion talk,
No, we're
please?
not. Well, we're
It's
not
not
gonna go
really.
into religion. He's just suggesting that. Go ahead, brother Reggie. Expand a little bit on your topic,
Yeah,
on your
Raz.
point.
I'm not going to go deep into religion, but religion has been known to reform some people. But if you're not religious, then so there are some other suggestions like Sister Melanated has come up with. But yeah, religion has been used to rehabilitate people coming from prisons, people on drugs and stuff like that. So that is some of the positive parts of religion. I know some people don't like to talk about the positive side, but it does do that to some people.
That's right.
I'm gonna agree with that.
That's right.
Um,
So, who's this brother? Is it a brother, right? Brother JJ?
Yeah, what's going on?
Peace, 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 and
Peace.
blackness to you.
Peace, sister. Peace, sister. Blessed for having me.
Welcome to the Constructive Convo family. What
Okay,
what would
okay.
you like to share with the panel and our audience?
I just was I've just been thinking about this whole concept of morality. I mean, it keeps being talked about like people that are doing what they're doing in the street. They're doing the wrong thing and they're evil people and all these kind of things. But they just seem to be totally in tune with the system and the environment that they live in. I don't know who's the judge of who's doing right and wrong. Remember, alcohol used to be illegal. So were them man trappers that were selling alcohol? What about slavery?
bro,
Wait.
you've opened a wormhole.
Listen, but that's what this show is all about. Because we're talking about these issues in a
You're dancing around
constructive
a
way.
wormhole.
Yeah, we're talking about these issues in a constructive way. No one's name calling. No one's.
Okay.
You're not anyone. It's a very different perspective that you're taking.
Okay.
So if you could, well, are there anyone that that has a response or reaction to brother JJ's comment?
Yeah, well, I guess, like, he is correct in the sense that he decides whether right or wrong, but I do believe that um, human people are people in a sense, not human people, but people like do have a moral compass that is innate to them. Like I don't think the majority of people that are watching somebody getting hacked to death are gonna be like, "Yo, that's a great thing to happen," or watching someone get murdered, or watching a child cry for his mother and not feel some type of way. I think there are things that are innate to humankind, and as such, that gives us a moral compass to decide whether or not we should continue with certain things or deny certain things.
But he brings up a really good point. I think this topic, the reason why answering this question or talking about this topic, we have such a variety of the responses is because it raises a moral dilemma. It's like an ethical dilemma that people are faced with. That's why Sister Nanita kind of was like, yes, no. I mean, yes. I mean, no. Like, kind of going back and forth because you're struggling with your moral compass versus um, logic and things like that. Because when we first had this conversation, I was more so on like, no, I don't want their money. No, 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 no. But then when the question was posed to me on would I take the government's money, and I'm saying the same government that pays vacation days for police officers who kill my unarmed black men. Or
Yeah.
now, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That same government, I had to check myself on, am I saying that's right? That made me think a little bit. So basically, it's two killers, and I'm making a choice to say one killer is better than the other killer. So, yeah, I mean, I can, I will say that to answer the question about morality, I think society dictates morality. The time and the era that you're in dictates morality. I don't think that, there's a standard morality, in certain places, it's immoral for a woman to show her shoulders. In other places, it's acceptable. It doesn't state that she's not an immoral person because her shoulders are showing. In some places, you're not a virgin when you get married, you're immoral. In other places, hey, she has a little experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that it's not one level, one finite type of moral code.
Well, that's where Reggie's response kind of solves that problem. He said, religion, the moral code is pretty straightforward. I'm not religious, but within religion, they have a moral code.
I mean, even with that, it's a little fuzzy. A Methodist moral code is different than a Presbyterian moral code. It's different than a Catholic moral code, which is different than a Jehovah's Witness or a Seventh-day Adventist. I mean, so
I know they won't support the buying and selling of drugs with their moral code.
So what I'm saying is that
slavery.
Oh,
sorry.
So just in
that
alone, right?
Religion never supported slavery.
It actually does, though. Still,
it actually does, bro. I'm sorry.
Is slavery the first form of
Did
trapping?
Jesus Christ have slaves? Was he a slave trader?
Jesus Christ is not the only
Jesus Christ
in the Christian
Jesus
church.
Christ came to fulfill the law. Yeah, he didn't come to make it; he came to fulfill it. And in the First Testament, it talks about slavery, and it talks about what you do with your women slaves and your male slaves.
Or even in the New Testament, it talks used to seize the water season. Also talks about slaves obey their master so that your day shall be filled with joy and stuff. And stuff.
My goodness!
So that's the New Testament as well. So
panel members, we're talking about trappers.
Peak times.
But that's another time the European has set the moral compass.
Well, yes, we are talking about the moral compass, but
yes.
I don't. Let's not go into scriptures and all that other kind
Yeah.
of stuff because that can really kind of sway it. There's an
Hmm.
argument. I think it's a fair argument to say that where a belief system in general may push certain moral standards, it may cover up other moral standards that someone else may have value in, right? And
And
vice
don't
versa.
forget, at the beginning, we were talking, there were certain people on this panel who mentioned that if they were going to do business with trappers, there would have to be a code. So I'm assuming from this code, you're going to be creating some form of morality within that code.
Of course.
Okay.
100%. We all need rehabilitation.
100.
And what would that moral code be? What is this code? Can
Just
somebody
like
elaborate on it?
just like the yakuzas and other society organization, they believe in their own people coming first. They believe in not selling drugs to their own people. They believe in giving back to the community. They also believe in making sure that they are a conflict resolution. They believe in everybody in the organization having a place and there being order. So if you want to move into a certain territory, you're gonna have to come all around the table. There's gonna have to be a vote to choose, and you're not allowed to make a move or kill anybody without it being sanctioned by the main bosses. So there is a code that allows things to operate way more smoothly with less violence and less civilian casualties,
I like
or
that.
even
I
no
like the
civilian
sounding of that.
casualties.
Yeah, I like the sounding of what you said in your code. You mentioned that they won't sell drugs to their own people and that they won't be involved in killing their own people. So those are two things
100%.
which stood out in that code. I can only hope that they would adhere to that code, but I like what you said so far.
100, and even the Yakuzas. The Yakuzas is one of the organizations that I rate the most out of all of them because, like, even during the Japanese earthquake, it was the Yakuzas that actually, like, they actually delivered aid faster than the government to the people. So, they have certain give back to charities and stuff like that. And they don't exploit their own. It's very an elaborate way of making sure they have their principles and they still make their money and everybody's still good.
I'm gonna drop some Delil on the unemployment figures for the UK.
Go ahead.
I've just put it into the chat.
Oh, so you're Muslim now, bro?
I was just about to say,
Jalil.
look at the Christian.
Yes.
Yes, I love it.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Alhamdulillah, bro.
from
Wait, you dropped it in the back chat?
no, in the main chat. So people on YouTube can see it, but that's from the gov.uk website for people they can click on it
Main chat.
and have a look. And it just shows you the number of ethnic groups and the unemployment figures.
It has
quite simple.
And somebody read it out.
I don't see it. You're putting it in the chat of this hangout right here?
I put in the YouTube chat so people on YouTube can click on it.
Oh, okay. Well, you could have put it in the back chat so somebody who has
They can analyze it.
who has a computer, they could have shared their screen. Like, for the witness.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to even see the American one if you guys can find that for us online, but just to analyze it. See.
But what's the gist of the figures? Though you can't just say you're sharing the figures and
the figures haven't appeared, Reggie. That's the problem.
They haven't appeared.
You don't read it.
I've sent it. What do you mean hasn't appeared? I sent it on the chat.
In the chat on the YouTube. Everyone is on the Hangouts right now, brother.
Okay, I'll send it on the Hangout.
But just for the sake of time and dead space, dead air, like you could read what you're seeing.
Yeah, boom. We've got like 12 minutes left anyway. Like, yeah, but with this unemployment thing, like, we definitely need well, I suppose, innit, we need to support black businesses so they can grow, so they can hire more black people, innit, at the end of the day.
Yeah, black businesses like Kushti Cosmetics, our sister. Make sure you guys look her up on Instagram.
But another thing as well, it's not just about what do you call it? Like, it's good that we get a job, but it's also important what you do with your money.
Yeah, financial literacy is very, very important, man.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because I'm in the chat. Content over everything says there's something inside that feels right or wrong when making a decision. So long as you don't feel wrong, then I respect your decision. Although I might not agree with it. So yeah, but I think the code makes it plain. People sit down, come up with that code, and if people follow that code, then and if we have a good rehabilitation program, the code and the rehabilitation program, that's something I would co-sign, I would support, but I'd have to know more, go real deep into
It's
it.
all about trust, isn't
Can
it, Brother Witness?
Yeah.
can I just say something? Like, and I'm by no means, because Brother Witness is kind of hard on me. He's like, you're saying that this is the same as trappers. Um, okay, if a trapper, right, sells drugs within their community, right, I'm saying that there are other harmful things also being sold in our community, and
Fast food restaurants.
those things are like acceptable to us, right?
Which things?
Fast food restaurants.
That
I don't
exactly.
go to fast food restaurants.
You don't go to, but we're talking about the community, Brother Witness,
But we
right?
have but that's a serious problem. They're called desert islands, or desert island or desert something in America, where due to the supremacy system, it has created a state of affairs where you don't have supermarkets or grocery stores in non-white communities. You instead have takeaway restaurants and liquor stores and even gun shops. All of those need to be removed and shut down.
Right, they need to be removed and shut down.
So I
So
would be
let's just
against them
say,
as well.
so let's just say there was no trappers selling in their community, but we still had um this harmful food in our community. I feel like if you can allow and have there be a grace period and wait for there to be grocery stores built up in your community, every day you walking by, passing by that, then you see what I'm saying? Like, you gotta have that same standard and that same mercy or whatever
But
for
I do. I said I
your
wouldn't
community.
tolerate takeaway restaurants. I'd start petitioning to shut down the gun stores and the liquor stores. I'd start fundraising. I'd start charities. I'd start Kickstarters campaigns to try and get it shut down.
Like, to me, my little gripe, and I know there's a whole lot of other things to have issues with, but I think these hair supply stores that sell perm, knowing what perm does to a black woman's reproductive organ, is
I
horrible.
agree.
I think we need to go up in there. No, I'm just saying, I'm not gonna incite any riots, but what I'm saying is that those things are harmful, like crack cocaine. They're harmful, seeping through your pores in your scalp, going into your body, and damaging your womb. Absolutely. We don't take those things seriously, but we wanna judge these crack dealers. I'm saying that we need to divvy out that judgment
No,
equally.
we do take that stuff
We
seriously.
Yeah,
We
we
do.
need we need to.
The problem is too many of our people still want to use that stuff, and they have the right to use it. But there are black folk who try to persuade black people not to use that stuff on their hair.
And even that is actually true, because even growing up having sisters, yeah, and like they never used it, but having cousins is that as well, yeah. My sisters will always tell my cousins, and my mom will always tell my aunties and that, don't use it because it's bad and all of that, yeah. And they would say, yeah, we know, but we need to have the hair looking nice and all these things. So they know it's bad. They know that it's bad. Like they know that if you keep it on too long, it's gonna be more worse for your hair and all of that, the breaks and all of that. Like they know that these things are bad, but obviously, um, what the brainwashing they've been having since young, they have been desensitized to that. You know what I mean? They don't see it as bad as let's say crack or even fast foods or whatever. You know, they don't see it as bad because
Right. So pretty
they've
much
been detoxed.
the community is like desensitized to a lot of the harmful things that we are exposed to. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, I would agree. it would be ideal if these trappers, um, you know, didn't sell drugs within their community, right? But I think that we have like these image of these people who are making like all these exorbitant amounts of income, all these exorbitant amounts of money. But do all trappers have cars to even drive to a whole other neighborhood community to sell the drugs? I don't know. I don't know if that's like and if that's realistic. I'm just thinking about my own community in the states where I grew up, and it's a reason why somebody stays on a corner, right? They on a corner because they don't have the resources. They don't have access to go anywhere else, right? Like, like I don't know. So,
How are the other black folk doing it though? Because we got other black folk who are poor. They're not doing it. What are they doing that's making them
no.
different?
See, the good thing is, the thing about it is we have when I go home and I visit, the good thing is most of those guys, you know, they're now employed, you know, they've gained gainful employment, where they're able to maintain themselves and their children and not have to rely upon doing that. At some point, when minimum wage was pretty low, $5, $6, $7 an hour, that's not really gonna cut it when rent is 12, 14, $1,500 a month.
Sister Melody, can I ask, what happens in America if do you guys like have like a welfare system? What happens if you are unemployed and you're not getting work? Because you keep saying they have to.
No, you can't just be unemployed and just get welfare like that. Like, I just ain't got no job. Like, I mean, even we have unemployment, and unemployment is only for man, which solving a race problem was. I think it's 4 months, 5 months.
So you'll get some money from the government for around 5 months.
If you had a job previous to that pays into the system. So when you get a job, your job pays into your unemployment benefits. So basically, you're being paid money that was contributed into a larger pot for you.
Okay, say you didn't have a job within that a reasonable time frame. What would be your options?
You have to look for a job. What do you mean?
So while you're looking for a job, they're not gonna give you like.
No, I mean you can apply for more than likely you would probably be able to get food stamps. And food stamps at a single person with no children, boy, you'd be lucky if you get $100 a month to help out with the cost of food. And I mean, if there's any Americans that in the chat that have a little bit more information on this, because I don't really know the dollar amount. I think I saw some paperwork. There was a mother who had 3 children, and her benefits was $700 a month, right? To live in a metropolitan city with 3 children below the age of 12. And out of that $700, a portion of it goes towards her rent, and then the rest goes towards, utilities and expenses like that, like your electric bill, your groceries, or your gas, or your gas bill, clothing, toiletries for the entire month. Yeah. I think like the public system it doesn't give out, like, you're not living that comfortable is what I'm trying to say.
We got 2 minutes left here, so I'm just gonna introduce the topic for next week here, which is gonna be the black community, the possession, and the exorcism. Where we're gonna be talking about, different spirits like European spirits entering the black community and how we can exercise those or perform an exorcism on certain spirits.
It's right up, man, like Reggie's aisle. I'm just joking with you, brother. That's an interesting topic there, Brother E. I look forward to talking about how we can eradicate these spirits from our community, because I'm looking forward to just building. So with that, it is exactly 6:30, and we're trying to be on time. Sister Melanated had a little hiccup. I forgot what time zone I was in. I was thinking I was in UK or something, but I got it straight. Family, 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 we want to thank you so much for your time. Those of you who stood with us to the end, we had an awesome array of opinions and positions on this topic. And when you leave from here, have some of these conversations with your friends and your loved ones. This is what we need to do. We need to have constructive conversations, bringing our conversations back to black. This is Melanated Goddess and the fam. Y'all want to say peace to the family if you want to? Okay.
Peace.
Peace, peace, peace. This is Melanated
Peace.
Goddess and
Constructive
Convos. The family wishes y'all farewell.